turned it on and off. Hello, it's me, Josh. Welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading Mr. Good. Now that we have light, clearly, to read the book with. Hope you're excited, hope you're ready. By Roger Hargreaves, Mr. Good. We're about to delve into Storytime. That's right. Here we go. What can we learn from Mr. Good? And what kind of adventures are we going to go on with Mr. Good? Mr. Good is very good. He always makes his bed, he always cleans his teeth, he always wipes his feet, he never slams doors, he never forgets birthdays, he never ever tells lies. Mr. Good is very, very good. Sounds very, very good indeed. However, Mr. Good lives in a place called Badland, a place where nobody is like Mr. Good, a place where people do slam doors, and they slam them in your face. There's Mr. Good. Having a door slammed in his face there. Poor chap. In Badland, the puddles are much deeper. Mr. Good's fallen well into that puddle. In Badland, dog's bite is worse than its bark. It's being chased by an aggressive dog there. It'd be scary. In Badland, even the trees are bad. He's being tripped over by the roots of that tree there. Isn't it good that Mr. Good's still good even though he lives in Badland, eh? One day it was wet and windy. Well, of course it was. The weather is always bad in Badland. Mr. Good was walking along minding his own business when the hat of a man fell off. When the hat of a man in front blew off. Mr. Good leapt in the air and caught it for him. The man turned around and glared at Mr. Good. "What do you think you're doing?" he thundered. "Give my hat back." So he's saved that man's hat from blowing away in the rainy, bad weather. And the gentleman was just very rude to him straight away. "What do you think you're doing? Give my hat back." Even though he helped. Poor Mr. Good. This sort of thing always happened to him. You see, the very idea of doing a good deed in Badland was preposterous, unthinkable, mad. If Mr. Good offered to help carry shopping, he was accused of stealing. Look, that's him trying to help someone with their shopping, accused of stealing. There are real places like this and people that are really like this in the world. If he kindly held a door open for somebody, then he would be kicked in the shin. Being kicked in the shin there, he's in a bit of pain. Not surprisingly, Mr. Good was not very happy. In fact, he was miserable. Oh no. So he decided to go for a long walk to think about things. He walked for a very long time. He was so deep in thought that he didn't notice how far he'd gone. He was walking in the wilderness there. And he was so deep in thought that he accidentally walked slap bang into somebody. I'm sorry, he stammered, Mr. Good nervously. "That's quite all right," said the man, and carried on his way. "Quite all right," repeated Mr. Good to himself. "That's quite all right." In the whole of his life, nobody had ever said, "That's quite all right," to Mr. Good. Then Mr. Good noticed the sun was shining, which was strange because the sun never shone in Badland. Further on, Mr. Good found a dustbin on its side. Without thinking, he tidied up all the rubbish. "Thank you," said the woman. Mr. Good stared at her. In the whole of his life, nobody had ever said thank you to him. "Could you tell me where I am?" he asked. "You're in Goodland," replied the woman. "Thank you," said Mr. Good. "My pleasure," said the woman. Mr. Good beamed. It's good like that. That's great. And I'm sure you have guessed that Mr. Good now lives in Goodland, and Mr. Good is happy. Very, very happy. Doing good deeds all day long. Nice work. The only thing Mr. Good still does not trust are puddles. He's like, "Oh, not gonna walk there. That could be a deep puddle." Once you've stepped in a Badland puddle, You never forget. No, that definitely happens. Thanks so much for reading the story with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back again soon with another story really soon, don't you worry about that. If you like these, please subscribe, click the bell below. Bye for now, but not forever.